Hey everybody, it's Victoria Rosendahl. I am so psyched you're here. This is going to be a great 40 minutes or so. We're going to learn some stuff and we're going to have a great time. I'm so glad that you stopped by to listen to the webinar. We're going to take an inside look into why traditional sales methods fail and how you can do it right. By the end of this 40 minutes, you will never do your marketing the same way again. I promise you. So let's get started. The webinar, is how to create an automated sales machine for your sauce and microsauce business that works 24/7 on autopilot. Now, by the end of this time together, you're going to discover the best new method for predictable and consistent lead generation and conversions on autopilot. And unlike other traditional marketing methods you've used, it is a blast. Okay. Most webinar hosts do this, and I'm going to do it too. This is just to show you that I'm a real girl. I'm the one just left of center, and this was with a group of UNCW students. We did a whole afternoon on story, and it was really a lot of fun. Now, one thing I want to say is to forgive me because I'm going to flub some words. I already did it, right? So I created my promise before I even told you about this. I'm not a professional speaker. So forgive me if I trip over my tongue, but yeah, that's part of being human. We'll still have a good time. Meet Donna Doyle. She runs a business called Doyle Direct in New Jersey, and I've done a good bit of work for her over the last 10 years or so, and she gave me this wonderful testimonial. Victoria is an excellent writer who is also one of the best internet marketers I know. She can focus right in on a problem and craft a story that knits a sales message into it for huge ROI. Her online marketing expertise has helped us boost sales and profits using her own unique storytelling method. We couldn't do it without her. Donna, thank you so much. That is just the most wonderful testimonial, and I am so honored to have her give that to me. Here's what happened. I used a strategy in her web copy that included a special element we're going to talk about that boosted her ROI. That's return on investment. We're going to cover this special element in a minute, so just hang in there with me. Okay. You might think you've seen this technique before, but my spin takes this in a totally different direction that's going to blow your mind. It's a very complex idea, but I've turned it into an easy to do method that anyone can follow. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm sure you have felt from time to time that you're working really hard, but not necessarily gaining significant ground. And every time you spend money on marketing, you just don't get the leads and conversions that you hope for. Well, what you're looking for is 24/7, 365 earning because that's the holy grail. And you're going to see how these pieces fit together and work in unison, and you're going to see how you can execute it. See, the current method of selling just doesn't work anymore. Here's why you might be fighting an uphill battle. The game has changed, and a lot of people haven't changed with it. I mean, you don't want to use a rotary phone when you can use one of these, a smartphone. It's the difference between 1960s Mad Men advertising and 21st century technology. How do I know this is good for your monthly recurring revenue? Well, if you stay with me, you'll see how and why traditional marketing has failed you. Here's my promise. In the next 40 to 45 minutes, you'll get the exact steps you need to attract an unlimited amount of customers to your business automatically that will work 24/7 for you. I'll show you how to leverage today's technology for 24/7 income without the 24/7 work. More on that in just a sec. This strategy is perfect for you if you're in IT, if you're a business owner or a solopreneur, and you're a seller of products and or services. You're going to learn to leverage today's technology in a new and different way that gives you results like you've never seen before. So stay with me because you'll dramatically change how you do your marketing in the future and really forever. This works if you're on the golf course, if you're tailgating at the big game. It even works when you're underwater in a scuba class. It works 24/7 while you're asleep. That's the beauty of it. By the end of today's webinar, you will learn the number one strategy you need to know to skyrocket your business, a new approach to sales that has nothing to do with hard selling, and a way to attract new customers to your business and make conversions even in your sleep. Here's the great news. It's the strategy, not you personally. You might be feeling like there's something wrong with you, you're doing things incorrectly. It's a strategy that you need to learn. Especially in SaaS and Microsoft businesses, it can be really hard to concentrate on doing that and bringing in new business, especially if you're on your own or you have a very small team. Here's an example. My husband created a garden product for me, and I'll tell you more about that a little later in the webinar. We had a rollover accident back in the early part of the 2000s, and neither one of us were seriously hurt, but I did have some recurring pain in my back and neck and hands, and I'm a gardener. So we created this strategy, and I've had a 5 times bump in sales using this for the last 11 years, and it's still going strong. Listen, before we start, I really want to give you something of value because I believe in that so wholeheartedly. I want something that you can use right now. Now, most of you probably know that organic traffic, that's the free stuff that shows up from search results, is exactly what you want to get people to your website. It's what everyone on the planet wants. You get more eyes on your site, and it's free. Who doesn't like free stuff? One of the best ways to do that is to offer fresh content consistently. Now, some of you may have known that before, and some of you may not have, but if you didn't, now you do. Here's the problem though. How do you find and repurpose content for your site if you're not a writer? It may not come naturally to you. So I put this guide together called 10 Places to Instantly Find Kick-Ass Content. It shows you exactly where to go to find content to bring people to your site organically. And at the end of our time together, I'll tell you where to get it for free as my gift to you just for coming and hanging out for a little bit. Here's what I need from you. I'd like you to stop everything except for what you're doing. Close your browsers, put your phone on vibrate, put a note on your door that says I'll be back in 40 minutes. I'd like your undivided attention. Science has shown that even when we're concentrating, we only retain about 10% the first time we hear it. Now, this strategy is not something people have seen before, so for maximum benefit, turn it all off except for us having a conversation. All right, who is this chick? Oh my gosh. That's me in the upper right-hand corner. I'm Victoria Rosendahl, Chief Creative Officer of the Rosendahl Method. I help SaaS and Microsoft businesses attract an unlimited amount of customers 24/7. Here's what I bring to the table. I've spent 51 years as a storyteller. I started when I was 10. Do the math. Yes, I'm 61. I have 3 novels in print. I have another going into print. I just started my 5th. I have 4 screenplays done, 2 short screenplays done, and dozens of Microsoft, see, there you go, micro sales scripts for businesses. In addition to that, I bring 14 years as an advertising and marketing writer, devoted my work life to this. It's just been my passion. I want to help business owners knit their storytelling together with sales messages to explode their ROI. All right. You may have guessed it by now, but the special element is story. Here's why it's important. You'll see how one company went from 0 to 1 billion, and that's billion with a B, not million with an M, in just 5 years. How a company turned a run-of-the-mill advertising campaign into branded content, and how a DIY video company became part of one of the world's mega businesses. And here's how you can use story to transform your business in 5 simple steps. It all starts with the first step, doesn't it? We've all heard that saying. It starts with the why. Think back to what gave you the idea for your business or piece of software. Not just the time in your life, but even the place or the people you were with. Were you having French roast coffee? Were you having a beignet? Were you eating pizza? It's that kind of why that I'm looking for. Why is this important? Because it's the foundation of your unique story. It's the skeleton or the proof of concept, if you will. It's that prototyping work that's done by a software architect who builds from a specific set of requirements. You see, story is like that too, because without that skeleton, your story won't have substance or form. The second step is found in the details, those little deets that make your story uniquely you. With the why, the foundation, we can build the structure from the ground up. Let's say you found a workaround to a problem. That's good, but what specifically gave you the idea? We're going to humanize your story. We're going to humanize the why. The more you delve into the details, the more you create a common bond with your audience. And this is important because you want people to relate to your experiences and let them get to know the person behind the business so they feel like you're talking just to them and solving their personal key problem. This starts your relationship. And when you start a relationship like the one we are starting together, when you do it the right way, you form a common bond. It's one of the keys to get people to buy from you because without having a face-to-face interaction, you need something that's going to pull you together. That connection is so critically important because people feel they know you even though you haven't met. This is the part of the story that a lot of people miss and get wrong, but you won't. Many marketers talk about ROI, return on investment, that we first discussed at the beginning, like it's their sole focus. But the work you do here with story is what I call ROR, or return on relationship. Let's say somebody comments on your blog or leaves you a comment that includes their personal story. Take a minute to respond because that's going to build your common bond. The third step is found in the background. Now, before we tell your unique story, we need to find out what problems were happening before your solution was discovered. What were the complaints? We'll go into more detail about those in a second, but those are really important. And yes, you probably saw my Skype notice pop up on this window. I just did not turn it off before I started, so you know what? I'm human, and I'm sure you've had that issue too. The complaints are important and the kudos are important, and we're going to weave them into your story as background to give your sales message more substance from a human point of view and not just a Microsoft point of view. The fourth step is found in your story. This is your unique story where we color in the foundation and building using your story. You might not think you have a unique story, but believe me, we all do. And here's why. No one has walked in your shoes. No one has the details of your story. Now, don't worry, we're not going to give away your secret sauce of the software that you created. I want to know what's going on around you. No one's walked in your shoes with your personal background, and nobody can tell your story like you. Fifth, no, we're not going to knit a sweater, but we are going to reach out and offer your story knitted with your sales message and start a conversation with your audience. It's going to be like having coffee together, that me too feeling. They'll like you before they even meet you. Why is it important? Because when people have problems, they feel isolated. I'm sure you've felt that way. I have. And reaching out to them will help them feel less alone. Your unique story can turn a disconnection into a powerful connection. And this strategy sharing with people that you've been there before, these feelings. They're not alone because they know that you've been there too. When story comes first, you cannot fail. The story is what's going to get people excited. Customers buy on emotion. I'm sure you've done it. I've done it. Give them a story they can relate to, that me too or aha feeling that we've heard Oprah talk about, and you'll turn casual browsers into lifelong customers. No one buys from people they don't like. Stories? They like stories. Okay. Maybe you've felt like your income just isn't what it needs to be. We have all been in this boat where business has at times been lacking, and then there are times of abundance. I'll show you how to put an end to the income roller coaster and put right things in place to consistently drive sales every single day. If you want to have the best thing out there that drives leads and sales, there are going to be some more stats on this in just a minute. What you really need to focus your energy on is video. Video outsells everything, but here's the catch. It's done incorrectly, and that's what we're going to focus on going forward. You'll see why it doesn't work for most businesses, especially those dry IT explainer videos, and how to do it right for maximum benefit. If you've used video in the past without the results you've wanted, you'll see why that happened and how to fix it. All right, let's do this. Remember when I was telling you about the company that went from 0 to 1 billion in 5 years, and that small DIY company that became part of one of the world's mega giants? I'm going to tell you all about how telling a story can literally make you $1 million in the real world. Before we jump in, I want to give you some statistics. Wise Owl regularly surveys businesses about their video habits, and they came out with these percentages: 62%, 64%, 76%, 93%. Looks like a bunch of numbers, right? Here's what they relate to. 62% of the businesses surveyed said that they saw an increase in organic traffic. That's the free stuff we talked about earlier. 64% said video upped their sales conversion and they're planning to increase video spend. 76% said they had exploding ROI because customers could see what they're getting before they purchased. And 93% thought video had increased user understanding of their product or service. There's also a brand new survey from Forbes that revealed that 59% of consumers said they would seek out specific brands after viewing the video. That is astounding. Here's a small case study to illustrate how powerful video can be, and it proves beyond any doubt that using video can make you rich. Okay, here's one of my favorite questions. Has anybody ever heard of Michael Dubin? How about Dollar Shave Club? Yeah, I'm sure there are people out there who not only have heard of Dollar Shave Club, but they use Dollar Shave Club. It's great for anybody who uses razors. It's a godsend. But here's the thing about Michael Dubin. He never bought a second of commercial TV airtime. He never took out a full page ad in the New York Times. All he did was produce funny videos and post them online. And guess what happened? In the summer of 2016, Unilever bought Dollar Shave Club for $1 billion. 1 billion big ones for a small 5-year-old startup. So I was thinking I wanted to see what $1 billion looks like, and look, it's in gold. It looks great to me. Speaking of billions, here's another case study about the tiny DIY that got snapped up by a major player. That's right. It's Google. Google paid $1.5 billion to acquire YouTube. Video streaming is so hot, and it's getting hotter every day. There were 2 million hits on YouTube during the first presidential debate in 2016, and it outpulled TV coverage on the second presidential debate. Okay, hold on to your hats. I got one more illustration about the value of video as it relates to branding. Remember when we talked about how important content is, especially fresh content consistently? This case study deals with something called branded content, which is a type of marketing that uses content to promote a particular brand. It used to be that the brand was within the content. Now the brand is the content. And this is Marriott Hotels. You may have even stayed in some of their hotels or resorts. They came out with two videos recently, and they're about 15 to 19 minutes long or so, and it doesn't hawk their brand, or it doesn't sell their hotels. It's a story. Marketing Dive report has said that original scripted videos are drawing large audiences, which turn into revenue generating opportunities. Two Bellman was the first scripted video that Marriott came out with, and it launched in early 2016, and it soared to 8 million views on YouTube. That's more than the Twitter presidential debate broadcast with 3.2 million views. Then they decided to come out with Two Bellman 2. Now, Marketing Dive also says that the demand for video content is growing, and that means brands need to have a strong story that consumers can share with friends, and it's the sharing that's really taking off. Marriott is now so successful that it's licensing some of this content to Bellman and to Bellman too. So marketing is turning into a revenue source. But here's the thing, guys, you don't have to be a huge brand to knit your story with your content and sales message. Marriott actually has been so successful with branded content that they've created an entire division to work just on scripted video like these two. But there's the question. I'm sure you're thinking, how can I do that? You can take the same kinds of ideas, use the 5 steps we talked about to produce some of the results that they got. Can you imagine 8 million people watching your video that sells your product or service? Even a tiny fraction of that, let's say 500,000. 500,000 pairs of eyes seeing your video, what kind of impact do you think that'll have on your marketing compared to what you're doing now? That's the power of story. And that's what happens when you combine story and video. Now, for small companies, especially in the IT sector, this goes beyond explainer videos teaching consumers how to use your software. This kind of content reaches out in a personal way to start that relationship we've talked about. Now, branded content is less about selling and more about education. And what does that do? It increases viewer trust. Now, if those 3 case studies weren't enough proof, that story is where you want to be, Forbes.com published an article recently, and here's what they said. In today's age of brand experience, it seems that emotional engagement is proving to be more and more critical to achieving winning results, and effective storytelling is at the heart of this movement. Here's the deal. When you combine your unique story and video, you get leads that convert predictably and consistently. You'll automatically attract the perfect client for your business every single day. Because story's universal. We've been telling stories since the dawn of time. Cavemen, pioneers. Last week at your poker game, you all tell stories and we love them. Now, I have a personal experience with story, and I'd like to show you another way that story impacts results. This isn't video. This is a fundraising letter for Middlesex Volunteer Fire Department. This is a tiny little fire department in Virginia. Before I did some work for them, they had been pulling in probably about $5,000 a year in their fundraising efforts. Okay, but I thought they could do better. So I took a swing at a letter and included personal stories of people they had helped. And in the first 3 weeks, they brought in $11,000. And in the first 3 months, that letter brought in $25,000. All because people felt a common bond with the families featured in the letter. I'm sure you've seen letters like this. I have too. They tug at your heartstrings and make you pull out your checkbook immediately. All right, it's all about leverage. You need the tools to do the heavy lifting for you to pull in jumbo ROI while you prep your next tech launch. If you have something working in the background all the time, just like we do on computers, that can do the hard lifting and the heavy lifting for you, and you can go do what you do best. Video's evergreen, and it helps you work smart and not hard. Storytelling plus your sales message is the method that works 24/7, automatically attracting perfect clients to your business. Let's take a look at typical sauce and microsauce monthly recurring revenue. Let's say you have $2,000 a month per customer. You have 2 customers a month, $4,000. So your annual revenue is about $48,000 with 2 customers. What do you think would happen if you have video and so many eyes are on your business? Suddenly, you might come up with 10 customers, and now you have a monthly MRR of 20,000 and not 4,000, and an annual revenue of just shy of $250,000. That's really fantastic. But you know what? It isn't just about revenue, is it? It's also about churn rate, those customers who leave you. You want to reduce your churn percentages by engaging your customers, getting feedback about the kinds of problems and challenges they face so you can address them directly to them and help them feel like you know exactly what's going on. Okay, let's recap. Current sales methods suck because they're as out of date as a rotary phone. Story outpulls sales every single time. Why? You can't fail telling your story and forming a common bond with your audience so they get to know you before they've even met you. And your unique story plus your sales message will attract an unlimited amount of customers to your business automatically. Okay, I have a critical question for you. We're at a crossroads now, the point where many ask how they'll be able to weave their unique story into their sales message in the 5 steps I've shown you. It's a great question. There are 2 answers to that question. Which one will you choose? There's the slow way, the one I tried over and over again when I was first starting out, where I invested time and money and tried to DIY it. The problem I came up against is that it's too damn slow. Or you can zip ahead of the learning curve by using a proven roadmap and follow the system we've talked about before. For me, and I bet for you too, winging it day to day just doesn't cut it. You need a blueprint to follow and copy. How can I help you? I've dedicated time for the next week or so to speaking with you personally about how you can apply these strategies to your own business, and it's 100% free. I've spent years putting together the perfect roadmap to integrate story into your sales message, and I call this the Rosendahl method. But hang on, we got to talk about something really important. This program may not be for you. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're happy with the number of leads you're getting, and I'm guessing you aren't if you're here, or you want to stick with basic explainer videos for your software that brings in equally soft leads, then this isn't for you. But if you want a changeling business, it's perfect to generate a lead generation system that combines your unique story with your sales message to bring in money 24/7. Here's how to grab your slot. Click the link on the screen or plug the address into your browser and reserve time with me to talk. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, there are a lot of marketers out there who will call me crazy, but here goes. The scheduling link only goes to my scheduling page. I'm not seating you on an email list. Why? Because I respect your time and I reserve that for when you become a client, not beforehand. See, this isn't a sales call, it's a meet and greet to see how I can help you. Plain and simple. Let me tell you a little bit about what it is that I do, because I want you to see the steps I use to help clients attract more leads 24/7. The Rosendahl method. It's the 3-act formula that lets you autopilot your sales. We get together and do a sales profit interview. We do the Rosendahl Profit Booster and your automated cash machine on steroids. But there are other steps to this that I'm going to talk about in just a sec. Okay, if we choose to work together, if we're a really good fit, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a questionnaire from me. Now, this is all it is. It's not pages and pages that you have to answer. I know you're in IT, but I don't know exactly what you're doing, and I don't specifically know what your business focuses on. And that's really important for me to get an understanding of who you are and to start forming some ideas. The next thing we do is the sales profit interview. This is where you and I talk about what you do best. We'll brainstorm together and find the perfect story to use. Part of that strategy will be a deep dive where we'll dig deep to find those details for your story. I had a client once who didn't want to tell me that he had a real loss leader. He had screwed up on something and found a workaround, and it was working. But that was a great story. I really wanted to use it, and it's worked. It's worked well. We're going to start setting up your 24/7 sales machine with these deep dive and detail conversations. Then we're going to form a detective squad together. We're going to weave your story into your sales message to find the best product or service to use that story with and get really creative. Now, if creativity scares you, that's what I'm here for. No sweat. Okay, remember when I mentioned complaints earlier and how much I love them? I call them the untestimonials, and they're way better than compliments. Why? Because they're specific. Compliments are wonderful. People will say, I love your software, Mandy from Ohio. But complaints, this is the problem I had with your software. And they enumerate it bullet by bullet. That's like having gold in your front yard because you can speak directly to them and develop something that solves their problem. This is one of the best places for stories. Whether it's industry complaints, customer complaints, we can turn them into great stuff. It'll be maybe even your own damning admission, and that is going to draw clients to you like moths to a flame. I love giving away freebies, and you'll have 3 of these coupons to be able to use anytime you want to ask me a question, even if it's a year after we work together. And even if we haven't worked together, I'd be happy to answer your questions. Also included is 5 professionally written emails. Now, if you don't use an email list, and some people don't, we can turn these into blog posts or even articles, and that'll work just as well. I don't know about you, but I really guard my private email address with the Roman legion in front of it. But if we work together, you'll get my private email address, and that'll help you just not have to go through support. It'll save you time. And I try to answer every email within 24 hours, even if I write you and say, hey, I'm tied up, let's make an appointment. All right, it's all in the script. This is my favorite part. Just like To Bellman, your script is the heart and soul of your sales video. Together, we're going to work on a first draft based on all of our conversations, and the script will be reviewed by you and by me for nuance and accuracy and impact, because the devil is in those details. That separates a winning script from an underperforming one. I'm not going to call it a loser. It's an underperforming one. And during this time, we're going to make your script so amazing that people want to watch, interact, and buy from you. And here's the thing that's really powerful for you and your business. Those viewers will share it with their friends and colleagues. And that's where the gold is also going to be. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember this. Do you remember when Facebook was the Facebook? There's a part of the Facebook company name story that's not as well known as Sean Parker's role in it. And it's that Uber CEO Travis Kalanick was part of that fateful evening. The result? Zuckerberg removed the from the name. Why is that significant? Because it adds another personal layer to Zuckerberg's story. Now, if you're watching this presentation, I'm betting you're not running a million or a multi-billion dollar company, but details like this about decisions you've made and changes you've implemented make the same impact whether you're Facebook or not. Video production. Most of my clients feel like they have a face for radio. And what that means is they don't want to be on camera. And I get it. It's perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, I recommend that we do a 1 to 1.5 minute video using motion graphics. That way we can pull screenshots of your product or service for bigger impact. I have a video production team that includes professional voiceover experts that will add just the right zip to your script. And once the video's done, we'll review it together and make decisions on changes so that you have a stress-free time doing this video. Now, if you've ever beta tested anything, you have to know how it's doing out there. And that's one of the things we'll do too. We will know what's going on, what is the best piece of traffic you're getting so that we can work on that and make sure that we are targeting the right folks. Part of that analysis is in your YouTube channel. If you don't have a YouTube channel, we'll set one up for you. And if you do, we'll upload the video so that you can keep focusing on what you do best. This is where I want to tell you about my little garden product. It's called Garden Rack. And this is the one that's given me a 5-time uptick in sales, which has amounted to about $30,000 over the last 10 years. It's really been wonderful. But here's my true confession. Remember that damning admission we just talked about? I produced these videos by myself, outside with a flip camera on a tripod. The lighting is harsh. The sound is awful. I mean, you can hear the wind in the trees. There's all that stuff. Birds, planes, you got it. But you know what? These videos still pull in sales for me a decade after I loaded them to my channel, and I get new subscribers all the time. Take a look. Over these last 10 years, I've had 313,000 views and 425 subscribers. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but it is for a tiny garden product that costs $29.95. It's fantastic. People have shared, people have bought, and the best part for me is that folks who can't bend or kneel to garden are able to garden again with this product. Here is another thing that you can do with YouTube. If you don't have Google Plus, I highly recommend that you get it because it helps you communicate with your subscribers. When someone subscribes to your YouTube channel, make sure to add them to your Google Plus Circle for Marketing. You can see on the screen I have a GR, that's Garden Rack Marketing, and then I'm also following. And to doing that, I can put a new video up and make it private, send it just to my subscribers who are also in my Google Plus circle, and write them a personal note so they get it before the public does. Then once I've done that, I can go back and mark the video public. Okay, so what are we going to talk about when we get together on the phone? We're going to talk about story. We'll chat about how you got started, what your business goals are. I'll answer your questions, and we can see if we're a good fit to work together. Plug that into your browser or click the link, and spaces are filling up because I'm not taking that many people. I have a small team and I really don't want to overload myself because I want to be able to work with you personally and give you excellent service. Okay, so now you have a couple of choices. You can do nothing and stay where you are, and yes, that's absolutely zero risk, but it's also zero change. You can DIY it. And if you've been doing it all yourself for any length of time, you know this is a long, hard road. Or you can invest 30 minutes with me to see what's possible to raise your business to the next level. Okay, Here's your free gift: 10 places to instantly find kick ass content. And you can click the link or plug that link into your browser and go pick up the report. It's absolutely free. Content is what you need to keep your customers engaged and dump your churn rates into the single digits. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming by and giving me your time. Schedule your call. I'll take all of your questions and we will talk about your business and get you started to 24/7, 365 selling really soon. Have a great day.